Hello and welcome back to the From the Nosebleeds podcast, season 3, episode 9 here on this. It's not really a lovely Tuesday morning, but it's a Tuesday morning nonetheless. I'm Tomas Pocrnic, as always, joined by Thomas Coburn and producer Paolo Gismondi. Coburn, what's going on?
Well, you're totally. It's a pretty gray Tuesday. It's almost actually afternoon now, but pretty gray Tuesday morning. But we've almost wrapped up school. I'm speaking for the both of us, but I think school's almost done for both of us, so that's good. Draft, I was about to say right around the corner, but it's not really right around the corner, is it?
What is it? 3 weeks away now? A little less than 3 weeks. It's knocking on the door of 2 weeks, but yeah, you're right. It's I'd say it's exciting times. I'm looking forward to 3 straight days of just watching the draft, even the later rounds. I'm a guy that still likes to keep up with the later rounds.
Is the second round better because it's not Goodell announcing the picks?
That's a good question. That might be a topic today. We didn't plan to talk about this,
or maybe we save it for closer to the draft.
Closer to the draft.
What's our favorite round to watch? Electric topic.
Yeah, I will say this though. Pat McAfee, when he announced the Colts,
I'm sure you continue.
McAfee.
Yes, there you go.
Excuse me.
Come on, you got to respect him.
Just a horrid start for me today. But when he announced the Colts pick a couple years ago, that was just electric. One of my favorite all-time draft announcements. So you know what? They might be better. But also I love the boos of the Goodell faithful. Last year we didn't get that. He was in his basement. Last year, I don't know if you remember this. Of course I do as a Dolphins fan. He actually spoiled Miami's pick before he announced it.
I refresh my memory.
So Miami picked Austin Jackson in the first round, 18th overall last year, and they had just picked Tua, 6th overall. And you know, the camera cuts to him in his basement, and he was holding the card, and he said, "Dolphins fans, you're gonna like this. Some help for Tua." I think that's what he said. It was either some help for Tua or some protection for Tua. Austin Jackson was the top tackle left available. It was pretty much, if they're gonna pick a tackle, it was gonna be him. Everyone knew that wide receiver wasn't going to be something that was addressed. So as a Dolphins fan, the pick was essentially spoiled about 2 minutes before he announced it, not even.
Well, I don't know how you ever got over that. It seems
Goodell is the worst.
Devastating.
He ruined my draft experience. How could he?
Ruined my day, ruined my year. I actually don't even hate Goodell. I don't even know, like, whatever. I think it's just
customary in sports to just boo the commissioner for no reason.
Exactly. I think most of them do a relatively good job, except for maybe baseball.
Basically, you know, and I'm not, you could see by the 2 hats that we wear, of course. Yeah. Football podcast, you're representing the MLB today. I'm with the Raptors, but I'm not a big baseball guy. I try, but I'm working on it, but I can't
trying to experience it. Okay, fair enough.
I do remember them just really struggling to even get a season going last year during the whole COVID summer thing. But regardless, we have to get into the first topic, and that's, of course, what did you do on the weekend? The most important topic, arguably.
Well, I think Saturday I might have watched, I don't know, maybe I watched a movie. I don't even know. But Sunday was for the Masters. I think one of the best, if you like watching golf, it's one of the best sporting events all year, just across all sports. The Sunday at the Masters. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of who won, because I've tried. I think maybe
Matsuyama.
There you go.
Producer Paolo was giving us a briefing before we got the show going today. But yes, Matsuyama.
I listened to the commentators say his name dozens of times, and I kept trying to say it, and I can't do it. But I think
that's a problem.
Is it? I
don't think it's very hard, but anyways, continue.
Say it one more time.
Matsuyama.
Matsuyama.
No.
I can't say it.
Please continue.
But congratulations to him. I think the first Japanese male to win a Masters. So good for Japan. They kept cutting to the Tokyo broadcast. Did you see this?
I did. Yeah. It was electric.
Yes, electric. I wish we could have just listened to the Tokyo broadcast for the whole Sunday, but Corey Connors, a Canadian. We have to mention
put in the water. I guess we do have to mention
Corey Connors. After the first 2 holes, I thought he was in it and he might win. And then he had probably his worst day of golf throughout the whole 4 days. So that was great. But, you know, Mike Weir, 2003.
Yeah.
Mike Weir, 2003. Best.
Matsuyama, when he put it into the water late, I really thought we were in for I was rooting for him just because I thought it was a great story. First Japanese golfer to win. I really wanted him to win. But when he put in the water there, I was hoping that, I think it was Shoffley that was sort of gaining on him, would put together a bit of a run and we'd have a really good finish. Of course, that didn't happen, but I was proud nonetheless of him bringing it home for sure.
Yeah, as a filthy casual golf fan, I like to see Tiger Woods win. I'm not even ashamed to say that I'm such a whatever bandwagon golf fan. But if Tiger's not playing and a Canadian's not, challenging, which barely ever happens, I root for a playoff.
Yeah,
you got to root for a playoff. That's what golf's all about.
My favorite part
for a playoff
was Zalatoris, who in the end, just because Shoffley sort of fell off, I think he had a triple bogey or something. But I think Matsuyama needed to 3-putt for it to go to a playoff. And there was Zalatoris, they were cutting to him, and he's just warming up that arm. He's just swinging the club like it's nobody's business there, making sure that in the 1% chance, he's ready anyways. So that was good. Good story, too, there. That's actually Happy Gilmore's caddy from the movie. I don't know if you knew this.
Never seen the movie.
You never seen Happy Gilmore?
No, I refuse to watch it.
So that's another problem. I think that's a big problem. I mean, there's a lot of movies I haven't seen, but I've at least seen Happy Gilmore.
It's just one of those movies that everybody loves, and it's so hyped up, and it's just like,
yeah. Okay, I'll say this, and then we're actually going to get into some NFL talk. If you watch Happy Gilmore at a young age, I feel like it's one of those movies where it's just like, it's hilarious. I feel like if you watch it now for the first time, knowing all the hype around it, a lot of it you're just going to find silly. But for me, even if I watch it now, just because I have those memories with it, I'd still really enjoy it. But anyways, after this, you need to go out and watch Happy Gilmore for sure. Producer Paul loves it. He says it's so funny there. But anyways, some NFL news finally. Julian Edelman, 3-time Super Bowl winner, 1-time Super Bowl MVP, pretty much one of the faces of the Patriots dynasty. He announced his retirement yesterday. He failed a physical. He's had a ton of injury issues in the past, and he's calling it a career. Now, you could say what you want about Edelman. He's an incredibly hard worker. He was a 7th-round pick. He was a quarterback. Like, his story is unbelievable. But the main debate that this has sort of sparked across social media is whether or not he's a Hall of Famer. Now, we haven't talked about this, so I'd love to hear your thoughts.
All right. First of all, before I give you my answer, is Julian Edelman not the Tom Brady of wide receivers?
In terms of career path and story and accomplishments, yes. And as a guy that often doesn't acknowledge Brady for being more so the most talented ever, but just the most accomplished, I really like that comparison. But he doesn't have the accolades in the sense that when it's all said and done, Brady's going to lead the all quarterbacks in passing yards and touchdowns. Now, of course, that comes with a lot of games, but still, it's a fair comparison, I think.
And also, he's like by far not the most physically, like, how many wide receivers are more physically gifted than Julian Edelman?
Yeah.
There's probably one on every team that's more just physically gifted than him. Is he a Hall of Famer? Absolutely not. I don't know what your answer is, so we might be in strong agreement here, but I have a general problem with the Hall of Fame. I don't know if we've ever actually talked about it on an episode, but I think it needs to be harder to get into the Hall of Fame. I think it needs to be more like baseball. I feel like baseball,
not more like baseball where no one's getting into the Hall of Fame.
Okay. There's got to be a happy median. Okay?
I feel like they've done a pretty good job in the past. Like Zach Thomas from the Miami Dolphins, like really good linebacker. I think he's still not in the Hall of Fame. Like Reggie Wayne this year didn't get into the Hall of Fame.
Okay, fair enough. But so here's my point. I don't think Edelman's a Hall of Famer because if he is a Hall of Famer, then to me, there are so many wide receivers that also need to be in, but I don't think they should be. So personally, I think Edelman is, great career, great teammate. To me, other than Belichick, like in terms of players, quite possibly the second most important part of the second half of the Patriots dynasty. Yeah. I think you could argue that. I think over Gronk is a legitimate argument. But unfortunately not a Hall of Famer. A Patriots Hall of Famer, but I don't think an NFL Hall of Famer.
There's a couple of different ways to look at this. First of all, it's funny to point out how winning is so emphasized for a quarterback. If a quarterback won 3 Super Bowls, they're in the Hall of Fame. People debate constantly whether Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer or not. So the fact that Julian Edelman is sort of getting this, is he a Hall of Famer? And he's won 3 Super Bowls. To me, that's interesting. So one part of me looks at it and says, if Julian Edelman wasn't on the Patriots, they probably don't have those 3 Super Bowls because he's that important. So he's that good of a player. That being said, he was never top 5 in his position. He was never even top 10. He was probably never even was a top 10 receiver in the NFL. If he was maybe 9 or 10. So he was never truly, truly dominant. And you're right, there's better players than him that don't belong in the Hall of Fame. But the fact that he brings along 3 Super Bowls, and without him, the greatest dynasty in, dare I say, pro sports as we know it, probably doesn't exist to the level that it does, that makes it for an interesting case. But at the end of the day, it's a team sport. The Hall of Fame is just strictly about recognizing individual accomplishments, individual play. So yeah, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, but a very, very good player.
Very good. And I think you could give him borderline. Also, another thing with the Hall of Fame there's always there's 5 players that get in every year. Is what, or is there more? I'm trying to think.
I think there's some sort of. I feel
minimum.
like there should be a minimum, and I think they're capped out. They can't just let everyone in.
Yeah, I don't think that there should be a minimum. I think there can be a year where nobody gets in.
No, I think that should never happen.
Why?
There's so many good players in the NFL, right? Like, let's say Davante Adams, who's last year was the best receiver in the NFL. I think we can agree he's at least top 3. Like, do you think that's a Hall of Fame player?
Right now? No.
What is he, 20, 27, 28 years old? If he replicates the production that he did, at least average in the past 3 years, an average of that production over the next 3-4 years, do you think that's a Hall of Fame player?
It's tough to say because I have to see it in 3-4 years,
fair.
like you said. But here's what I'll say. Let's look at wide receivers. Right now, if the league ended today and nobody could play anymore.
Julio Jones is essentially done his career.
Julio Jones and Fitzgerald are, to me, the only Hall of Fame wide receivers right now. If you ended the league today, I'm trying to think. I don't think I'm missing anybody that I haven't thought of. But to me, that's it.
Yeah, but none of the other top guys have had that long career where, Larry Fitz is probably going to retire this year. And then Julio Jones has had a phenomenal career.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say he's probably past his prime now. Injuries have sort of taken a toll. But yeah, I think that's fair. But I also think that there's a lot of guys like your Davante Adams, like your DeAndre Hopkins, even Michael Thomas. So many people forget about how good Michael Thomas was just a year ago. If they continue that production, I think they have fair shouts for the Hall of Fame one day.
You also, what also needs to be taken into account is the standards should raise extremely high because all these receivers are going to have way more receiving yards than other legendary receivers. Just look at quarterback passing yards. Mm-hmm. Like you look, it's like, sorry, Jameis is here on all-time passing yards. Is he close to, he's pretty high up, which is crazy to even say, but it's like, is he that number best quarterback of all time? Yeah. Not even close. And I think that's the same for receivers. It's like, yes, you might be top 30, but you played in the league. Let's say you played for a long time and it's just almost all throwing now. So it's a little bit different. It's harder to judge.
And not to use your own words against you, but you've been known for stating that you think Matthew Stafford should go down as a Hall of Famer. But that argument that it's a passing era and that he could very well lead everything just because of the pace he's going at, I think that loses a little bit of weight now.
I should clarify.
Especially with the added game now.
By today's standards. If somebody said make your own Hall of Fame, Stafford's not in it. In my Hall of Fame. But I'm saying by the standards of the Hall of Fame, Stafford is a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. That's all.
I think he's going to need to do some serious winning with the Rams before that comes to fruition because I don't know. I think you need to at least win one playoff game. But regardless.
I think that'll happen this year.
You never know.
That's true. Hopefully not because probably
Mac Jones and the 49ers might be knocking on the door in the NFC West.
There you go. Mac Jones. Best QB of all time.
Speaking of that, we have to get into some draft talk, of course. The draft is 2 weeks away now, a little more than 2 weeks away. we said before that the draft essentially starts at the third pick because we know Lawrence is going 1. We know Zach Wilson's going 2. The third pick's interesting of which quarterback the 49ers are going to go with. But I think the fourth pick is even more interesting because it offers, I think, a big element of surprise. There's a lot of teams that are hungry for a quarterback. They could shoot up the draft boards. Atlanta's sitting at 4 now. They could even hold there. They can take a Kyle Pitts. They can take a quarterback. But I think the Patriots are maybe the biggest wild card in terms of trading up. If you look at the roster that they have right now, what they've been able to accomplish in free agency, there aren't a lot of holes. I think their offensive line's top 5. Their defense looks really strong, especially if they can get healthy. The weapons, I'm not super high on, but the 2 tight ends that they offer with Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, I think is going to be really interesting. With that, I'm not a Cam Newton believer. He was a great player. He was really fun to watch back in his prime. I just don't think he can take this roster to where they think they can go. So the Patriots have been sort of pegged as a team that could move up to that 4 spot and take a quarterback. Do you think they should? Do you think it's bound to happen? Like the right guy's got to be sitting there, but I don't know.
The whole draft weighs on, I know we're talking about the 4th pick, but the whole draft weighs on what the 49ers do. Because I truly believe that, let's say the 49ers take Mac Jones. I think the Falcons might just take Fields and say, quarterback of the future, Matt Ryan, 1-2 years, and then you're done. But I believe that if Fields goes at 3, I don't know how many teams are going to want to move up to 4. So in our mock draft on Instagram, I said that I have the Patriots moving up to 4 for Mac Jones, but I believe that the Patriots are the only team that will move up to 4 for Mac Jones. I don't think there's another team that will. I think because, I mean, there's still Trey Lance. Don't forget about him. And I think that's maybe Denver looks at that. Maybe they trade up with Detroit at that point. There's so many different scenarios. But I hope the 49ers take Mac Jones, because then I think it's pandemonium at 4.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting. I'm just starting to think like a team like Denver, I think they might be a little more content saying, okay, we're sitting at 9. If Mac Jones falls to 9, perfect. We'll take him. If not, we're completely okay with going in another direction. So, because you're going to have to give it a lot to get to that 4 spot. We saw how much San Fran paid to get to 3. I know 4 is a little less just because you're not getting the 3rd best quarterback now, you're getting the 4th. But if the guy that's available is Justin Fields or Trey Lance, or even some teams are really high on Mac Jones and they think he is the 3rd best or even the 2nd best quarterback in this class, then I think teams are willing to really fork out a lot for the pick. One prospect that's really interesting to me, and I think that he fits with a team like the Patriots or even a team like the Falcons if they want to stay at 4, but if the Patriots shoot up to 4, is Trey Lance. He's only 20 years old. The competition's been really bad, but I think a scenario like New England, he could come in. He doesn't have to play from day 1. They can roll with Cam, see what they have in him. I don't think it's necessarily going to be – I don't think Cam's going to take this. I've already said this. I don't think he's going to take the roster to deep into the playoffs where they think they're capable of going. But I think Trey Lance offers a ton of upside. And I think under Bill Belichick, it could be really, really interesting.
As well, like, I don't know how many comparisons you've seen between Trey Lance and Cam Newton. Trey Lance has that angry running style that is Cam's really the only quarterback that runs like that. That's not, he's not like Lamar. He's not super agile. He's just going to try to run through you. He's going to use his frame. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, ideally for Trey Lance, that might be, you're right, the best scenario to learn under, because you're learning from a quarterback that has just a similar play style to you. And Cam, it's not I think Cam knows he's on his way out. He doesn't have that many years left. So it's not going to be some super fierce QB competition. I think that's kind of a mentor situation where it's, kind of a great scenario for both quarterbacks. So you're right. I think Trey Lance, maybe that is the best. I think, the best destination for any quarterback is the 49ers, in my opinion, by far. But if it's not the 49ers, which I don't think it will be, then I think, you're right. The Patriots, that is a really solid landing spot if you're Trey Lance.
But like you said, it's all going to depend on what San Fran does at the 3 spot, because to me, it's starting to feel like Atlanta just wants to wait and see. Like the trade's not going to happen now, but if a trade is going to happen, it's going to happen when they get on the clock. And there's going to be a ton of teams calling at the same time, or even teams like the Washington football team. Maybe they want to trade up. They got Ryan Fitzpatrick. They got Taylor Heineke. We know what we're getting in Fitzpatrick. The ceiling's pretty high, but the lows are very, very low. That can hurt a team that's looking to get into the playoffs. And Heineke, he showed a little bit in that one game. I think he won over I've never seen that in my life. A player just win over the hearts of the entire NFL. But again, unproven. Maybe they want to go out and get a flashy new quarterback. So there's so much that can happen. But to me, the Patriots are almost the most intriguing team. I also think it's uncharacteristic for Belichick to trade the farm.
But he's never had to get a quarterback before.
That's very true.
So if he sees it's worth it, then maybe that's where you see an aggressive Belichick, which we've really never seen. It's always kind of draft a terrible wide receiver, and that's it. Great try.
I'll say this one thing, and I think it segues perfect into our next topic, because this year, of course, the draft is going to be back in person, which means teams will be in their war room. I'm going to miss last year where Belichick was afraid to be on camera. They cut to his basement, and it was just his dog sitting at the computer screen. And I think that goes into the next topic, and that's Jerry Jones in the Dallas Cowboys, who was drafting from his yacht last year.
Should he stay there?
Should he stay in the yacht? It's an interesting topic. But regardless if he stays in the yacht, last year from the yacht, he drafted who many people didn't think would happen. CeeDee Lamb fell into his lap. He looks like a star already in one season. He almost had 1,000 yards with Andy Dalton and even a little bit of Ben DiNucci throwing to him. So he was very, very good as a rookie. The Cowboys offense is so loaded now. And here comes Jerry Jones. There's a lot of rumors in the media that he is just in love with Kyle Pitts. He's even considering trading up for him. Personally, I think there's zero chance Kyle Pitts falls to the 9th pick. I think the Bengals will have a hard time passing on him. I think the Dolphins will definitely have a hard time passing on him. I even think the Lions will take him if he's available there. He's just the whole argument. Oh, it's a tight end. Tight ends. No, this guy's not a tight end. He's a football player. He catches the ball, he scores touchdowns, and he picks up yards. List them at whatever position you want to. That's what he does. And he does a great job at it. So of course, Jerry Jones would love this guy on their team, but in my eyes, that doesn't fix the Cowboys.
Far from it. Kyle Pitts. He's a point scorer. That's what he is. He just ends up in the end zone with the ball in his hands. You call it whatever you want. You're right. If he ends up wearing a Cowboys jersey next year, that means they traded up for him. And I think that's maybe the worst possible thing that they can do. I mean, you look at the offense, they need no help in the passing game. I mean, just the offense in general. I mean, maybe the offensive line might be the weakest unit in that offense, you could argue. And I think that's probably true.
And it's a top 10 unit in the NFL.
There you go. Right. So it's loaded. You get Kyle Pitts. Now, all of a sudden, your expectations for that offense are like, if they score 30 points in a game, it's like, ooh,
yeah.
I mean, that's all right. Yeah. Because you're putting all your stock in your offense. And I don't think that's a smart idea. Where they are in the draft, they don't have to trade up at all, and they'll get the best defensive player in the draft. Whoever they think that is, they're going to get the best defensive player. Yeah. I truly believe that. I think there's a chance the Lions could go defense, but other than that, everybody else is going offense.
I think Carolina could as well, but yes, they're going to get if not the best, the second best. Yes.
There you go. So you're going to get your choice at corner. You might be able to get Parsons if he's there. Maybe it's a little boring, and it's not, we now have the best offense in the league and it's not close. Just take the linebacker, take a corner, and you're in that weak division. I've talked about how good the Giants I think might be, but you got a legitimate shot to win your division, and if you can turn that defense around at all, you're a contender to win a playoff game or two. I really believe that.
Yeah, it's not a matter of if Kyle Pitts is a good prospect or not. I think he's top 2, top 3 prospect in this draft. But the Cowboys, and you spoke about this, they have the potential to be the best offense in the league without him. And we saw how the Chiefs have built their team. They look like a team that's going to be in the Super Bowl year in and year out. Of course, they built it off of that high-powered offense. Mahomes has a ton of weapons. Of course, Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL, but Dak can put up the points. He can throw those yards. He can throw those touchdowns too. Dak does not need. He already has more than enough. Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb. They have already 2 pretty solid tight ends in Blake Jarwin, and Dalton Schultz sort of came along last year. Zeke's in the backfield. Tony Pollard's there too. It's just to make a film reference here. I know you love the show Breaking Bad, and I was a big fan of it too. When Skyler tells Walt, how high does the pile need to get? It's truly, that's what I'm thinking with this. The defense is a disaster. You know what? Yeah. In the secondary, corner specifically, Trayvon Diggs, brother of Stephon Diggs, I thought he had a pretty solid rookie year. But after him, there's a big drop-off in that corner position. And I think you can really use a Patrick Surtain or a J.C. Horn to lock down, because if we look at this division, you're facing Kenny Golladay twice a year. You're facing Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel twice a year. You need a lockdown corner. And the Lions used the 3rd pick last year for the best corner in the draft. If you can get the best corner in the draft at 9, I'd be very, very happy with that.
And yes, and well, happy if you're a Cowboys fan, or unless you're just cheering for the Cowboys next year.
Can't say I am, but
you're right. And when you look at the corner position, it's known that corners take a little bit of time to develop. It's not like a wide receiver or running back where you can just walk in and dominate. But if that corner, let's say they take a corner, whoever that is, whoever it may be, and they kind of are good out of the gate, you all of a sudden have, a little bit of stability at your corner position. And that's huge for a defense. So, I mean, yeah, I think it's got to be corner. Maybe it's Parsons, because you might say he's the best defensive player in the draft. Fine. But I think a corner is just that will have the potential to do wonders for that team. And I don't think Kyle Pitts really has that opportunity. There's going to be too many mouths to feed.
Yeah. Even if you look at just from a Kyle Pitts perspective, sure, it'd be fun to play alongside all those top weapons. But at the end of the day, he's talked about aspirations to be the best. He walks into that offense. What is he? The 3rd option, maybe the 4th option. I think I'd probably put him above Michael Gallup. Probably not from day one, but he has that potential there. And I'd want to go to a team where I'm going to be the guy. I don't know if you read yesterday, the Cincinnati Bengals signed Thaddeus Moss, so they don't need Kyle Pitts anymore. Joe Burrow's got his tight end from college there. But it's going to be interesting once again, as the draft always keeps us guessing, where Kyle Pitts goes, what the Cowboys do at 9. And as we talked about earlier, of course, what the Patriots do at number 4. But one thing in the draft that we talked about it before we started the show today, that just hasn't been talked about. And I think that's partially, in fact, to do that this player was locked in at this pick 3 years ago when he won the national championship as a freshman. That's Trevor Lawrence. Nobody seems to talk about him anymore. It's all about, Mac Jones or Justin Fields or Trey Lance, Zach Wilson. It's just everyone knows that he's going 1st overall, and he hasn't needed to prove himself in the past year that he's going to go in that position. So with him being such a lock to go 1st and an NFL starter from day one, we have the beautiful game of Trevor or Never.
Wonderful name.
I think that almost deserves a little round of applause for the creativity. But essentially, we are going to run through all 32 NFL teams, or 31, excluding the Jaguars, and just simply state our answer: Trevor or Never. Trevor being starting today, we would take Trevor Lawrence over that team's quarterback to, go forward with the franchise, and never would mean that certain team, we like what they have, we're sticking with them going forward, and we're never taking Trevor.
There you go.
I think we'll start it off in the AFC. We'll start with the AFC North. Pittsburgh Steelers. It's currently got Ben Roethlisberger. I think this should be an easy one, but
yeah, this is Trevor all day. Ben is falling apart at the seams. Pittsburgh will be drafting a quarterback. I mean, who knows? You could see them take a quarterback this year in, third round, let's say. But yeah, they need a quarterback bad. Ben's toast, so I'll go Trevor.
I'm going Trevor as well. I don't think you have to say much with this one. Baltimore Ravens, which is very interesting because they have an MVP. They have the youngest MVP at quarterback ever, and I think he might even be maybe 1 year older than Trevor Lawrence. Trevor or never?
Yeah, I'll go never. Although I've become, I feel like each and every day I get lower and lower on how I view Lamar Jackson. I think we'll go never. You got to stick with Lamar, and hopefully he learns how to throw a ball.
Now, this team is built to win with Lamar. Listen, I like Lamar. I think he's really fun to watch. I don't know if his play really translates to winning a Super Bowl. I think you need that guy with a big arm, can drive you down the field through the air with 2 minutes left. So I'm going to say Trevor here. I know it's a bit much because Lamar's proven in the NFL. He's won an MVP. I'm going to say Trevor. Cleveland Browns, Baker Mayfield.
Ooh.
I think this might be one of the hardest ones. Baker Mayfield's a former first round pick on his own. Former first overall.
You know what?
Pick,
no, as much as I've killed Baker, I'm gonna go never. And you know what you have in Baker, and that is an above average game manager. And I think that you can win a Super Bowl with Baker. And when you know you have that, I'll say be conservative and stick with Baker.
This is tough because if I say Trevor here, it's almost like, okay, when am I ever going to say never? Like, he's a first overall pick. He's proven he's taken the Browns to the playoffs. He's sort of transformed that franchise. I think Baker's going to get better as the years goes on because I think he's only going to get more confident in that system. Cleveland's setting him up to succeed. They got one of the best offensive lines in football. You know what? No, I'm gonna have to say never, just because
let's go.
They know what they're doing there. Stick with Baker Mayfield. Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow. Trevor or never?
Yeah, I'll go never. I think you got your guy in Burrow. I know he got injured, so maybe there's some concerns there, but I mean, I'm not going to take that into account for this topic. He showed flashes, and he is a legitimate franchise quarterback. I think most people think that. So I think the Bengals have their guy. So let's go never.
Yeah, it's Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. What's it matter? I don't have much confidence in the Bengals setting either up for success. Hopefully I'm wrong because, I really like Joe Burrow so far, but you're right. He showed a lot in his rookie year. Why not stick with him? This is going to be a never for me as well. Moving on to the AFC South. The Tennessee Titans. They currently got Ryan Tannehill in there, who's looked pretty good the past 2 years.
I don't know if this is surprising. I'm going to go Trevor. I think that I'm predicting a big fall off for the Titans. I've been hinting at this throughout, and I'm sure when we get to our standings previews and all that, I'll definitely talk about that more. I think Tannehill, you've seen his ceiling, and I know I said Baker. I think you can win a Super Bowl with Tannehill. I think he's shown he's capable of that, but I'm going to go Trevor.
I think age plays a factor in this too. Obviously, yep. Baker's a lot younger than Tannehill. I'm a big Tannehill fan. I have since he was in Miami. I loved how successful he's been with Tennessee. It's been great to watch. But I'm going to go Trevor as well. Indianapolis Colts up next. They got a second overall pick at quarterback in Carson Wentz. He has had a very weird and funny start to his career, but in his highest moments, he's been excellent. So Trevor or never?
I'm going to go never.
Oh,
I think, listen, I think that if Wentz gets back to 3/4 of what he was when he was working with Frank Reich, and I think he can get there, I'm fine with that. I'll take that all day. That's a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. I'm taking Wentz. I'm sorry.
I'm taking Trevor.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I like, and I still sort of believe in Carson Wentz, but to me, it's first of all, I think we have to acknowledge that I don't think anyone in the world thinks there's even one chance that Trevor Lawrence busts. He just seems to be like the most surefire. Yeah, he's going to be amazing from day one. Of course, there's a risk with taking Trevor as well. He's never played an NFL game before, but I'm going to take him anyways. The Houston Texans, of course, they got Deshaun Watson, and I think we'll see just legal issues aside, assuming everything, Deshaun Watson's playing next year, Trevor or never.
Oh, I was kind of assuming that he wasn't going to play. So I was going to say Trevor. So, okay, we'll just say this. If Deshaun is there, it's never. If Deshaun isn't there, it's Trevor. It's very simple.
I don't even think I have to elaborate any further. The final team is the AFC South. Trevor or never the final team's the Jaguars in the AFC South, and
Trevor.
of course that's where Trevor's landing. So we'll move on to the next division, the AFC West, starting it off with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think this is a very easy never for both of us. No one's touching Mahomes. So we'll just sort of skip that and move on to Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, that's a Trevor all day. I don't believe it. I'm not a big believer in Carr or Mariota. I mean, Mariota may be on another team, but yeah, that's Trevor.
Yeah, I like Carr, but he's not enough for me to move off of Trevor Lawrence. So I'm going to go Trevor as well. This one's very, very interesting. Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers, Trevor or never?
Never. Or sorry. Yeah, never. I almost just thought, I think Herbert's that guy. I think he's a top 5 quarterback in the future. So even if Lawrence is 1, I'm not taking that risk. So yeah.
I'm with you in the same boat as that one. And the Denver Broncos, Drew Lock.
Trevor. I'd love to see Trevor Lawrence be there. Let's say in some fantasy world, Denver is picking 1. I'd love to see Trevor Lawrence in Denver. It's easy, same colors. It's just
he exzudes
1.
Denver.
Yeah, there you go.
Big armed, strong quarterback. He can just slice through that altitude over there in Denver. We'll head over to the AFC East now. That was the AFC West. I felt it was 4 pretty easy decisions. Maybe the AFC East will be a little trickier. Let's look at the AFC East now. We have starting off with the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, Trevor or never?
This is a never all day. I think Josh Allen, I don't know. I think some people are kind of overrated him a bit this year. Like, this is top 5. I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback yet, but I think he has potential to be that. So yeah, we'll go Josh Allen. Easy choice.
I mean, considering I did a never on Baker, which I feel like I'm immediately starting to regret, this has to be a never on Josh Allen. I think Trevor Lawrence can definitely become what Josh Allen has, but Josh Allen's shown me he can do it. I'm not sort of ready to take that risk just yet. I'll say never. Miami Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa.
This is Trevor all day, and I hope that you say Trevor to take away your biases. Trevor is I like how we're just calling him Trevor now, but yeah, Lawrence he's a better quarterback than Tua, I believe, right now. So yeah, we'll take Trevor Lawrence all day.
I mean, I'm still very, very high on the ceiling of Tua and what he can become. But you're essentially looking at the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck here. You have to say Trevor here.
Yes.
We may have to cut this out just because I don't know how comfortable I am with me sharing this opinion with other people. But, if the scouts find out that nobody showed up to Trevor Lawrence's birthday party and he's still sitting there at 6 for the Miami Dolphins and they take him,
you got to be happy.
The New England Patriots.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll go Trevor because Cam is.
I'm agreeing with you on that one. That's Trevor all day. And the Jets, looking at the Jets, are we considering, if the Jaguars take Zach Wilson first overall, the Jets are taking Trevor Lawrence. You have to think. So, are we comparing him to Zach Wilson here? Are we comparing him to whoever Sam Darnold's backup was?
I think this is basically
it's Trevor.
Do the Jets want Trevor? Yeah, Trevor Lawrence or Zach. Either way, it's always Trevor Lawrence. So yeah,
it's Trevor Lawrence here. Is that the full AFC? It is. We're moving on to the NFC now. We'll start with the NFC East. Washington Football Team. Trevor or never?
Yes, Trevor. Ryan Fitzpatrick is not the quarterback of the future. That's all that needs to be said. Trevor Lawrence is. There you go.
I think this division is full Trevor, other than I think at least a talking point would be the Dallas Cowboys, Trevor or never.
Oh, wait, are we doing the Cowboys now?
Yeah, we'll go
Yeah,
to the
that's never.
Cowboys.
Yeah, I'll take Dak all day.
Take Dak.
I mean,
You'll take.
the injury concern, like that's the only concern. But yeah, I think that's Dak.
I think that would be a never as well. Now it's almost like I'm comparing. I'm taking Baker, so of course I have to take Dak. But the Eagles and the Giants, I think we can just sort of bundle those together. I think that's both.
Trevor.
It's Trevor, all the way. The NFC North. This one is very interesting. Aaron Rodgers, Trevor or never.
I mean, yeah, I'll take Rodgers because I think you have two. So this is the way I look at it. You have two legitimate Super Bowl runs left, minimum. So I'm being conservative. I think Rodgers has 2 good years left. It's never a guarantee that Lawrence will give you that opportunity to have 2 legitimate shots at a Super Bowl. And you're always, I think if you're an organization, you're always just trying to win one, right? It's like, we just need like the next one. You're not trying to like, oh, let's plan to win 5. That's unrealistic. So I'll stick with Rodgers.
I understand the thinking. I would go with Trevor. Rodgers is 37, 38 years old now. Trevor Lawrence, if he pans out, which I think he will, a lot of people think he will. He's given you 15 years of, if you got a quarterback who's top 5 in the NFL, you're going to be competitive every single year. So I'm going to go Trevor with this one. The Chicago Bears, I guess we're comparing Trevor Lawrence and Andy Dalton now. Before you even answer, I'm saying mine. I'm going Trevor.
Yeah, the Bears could have used Trevor 3 years ago. Like they would have taken him over Mitch. So yeah, we'll go Trevor.
Like you said earlier, we just refer to him as Trevor now.
He's Trevor.
It's the
First
best and
basis.
worst thing to ever happen to this show. But nothing rhymes with Lawrence, at least nothing that we can think of. So here we are. Moving on to the Minnesota Vikings. Of course, Kirk Cousins, who's I guess viewed as that QB 16 in the NFL. Maybe it's a little bit better than that.
He's better than that. I'll take Trevor because I kind of view Kirk as an old Baker Mayfield. So you're taking it now. I'm taking age into account because I don't think Kirk Cousins. Now we're just doing first name everything, but I don't think Kirk Cousins gives you obviously what Aaron Rodgers does, which was my reasoning for taking Rodgers. So yeah, Trevor.
Yeah, I'm looking at Kirk, Baker, Aaron, and Trevor. I'm gonna say it's a Trevor here. I'll take him over Kirk Cousins. So I'm going Lawrence with this one.
There you go.
Your Detroit Lions, Jared Goff. Hey, he's been to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, we'll take Trevor Lawrence. I think the Lions would be maybe, they love Goff. So let's go with Goff. No, yeah, we'll take Trevor in this situation and we'll be Super Bowl contenders in a nice 2 to 3 year range. So yeah, we'll take Trevor.
All right, we got the NFC South. You didn't actually answer. Next.
Are you a Goff guy?
I don't think I need to answer on that one. Okay. I'm taking Lawrence. I feel like now I'm gonna have to start calling him Lawrence just because it's getting to me over here. New Orleans Saints. I'm a huge Jameis Winston fan.
Trevor Lawrence.
Sorry, Jameis. I feel like if I was voting on who I'd rather watch play for sheer entertainment value, maybe I'd go in Jameis just because I think he's electric. But we're gonna go Trevor. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's a 43 now, 43-year-old quarterback.
Okay, well, if I'm sticking with my philosophy, if you're just trying to get one, maybe you.
No, come on. You can't take a 43-year-old quarterback. I know it's Brady.
All right, you know what? Fine. Here, I'll take Trevor Lawrence just because I have confidence that the Bucs can put together a roster that I don't have with Green Bay. So, that's my concern about Green Bay. I'm directly relating the two here. So fine, you've convinced me.
Okay.
I'll take Trevor Lawrence.
Hear me out with this. If Trevor Lawrence is as good as Justin Herbert was last year, which I think a lot of people can see him doing that, the Bucs can win another Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah. The Bucs could practically win a Super Bowl if he's as good as Tua was.
Which is very, very good.
Which is terrible.
Okay. So Trevor Lawrence, excuse me, you get him on the Bucs, you can win now. You can win 15 years from now. To me, that's an easy one, despite Tom Brady being the most decorated and the most accomplished quarterback of all time. Carolina Panthers, Sam Darnold. I feel like all of a sudden the league is as high on Sam Darnold as they've ever been. Everyone, he's only 22 years old, even though the tape says what it does with the Jets in recent years. but nonetheless, to me, this is an easy one.
Yes, very easy. Trevor Lawrence. I mean, yeah, they're both still relatively young, but I think Trevor Lawrence has a way higher ceiling. And we've already seen that Darnold has struggled in the NFL, and we haven't even seen that yet. So we don't know if Trevor Lawrence will ever even really struggle like Sam Darnold did. So yeah, Trevor Lawrence.
All right, we got one team we got 5 teams left. One team in the NFC South, 4 in, I saved the best division for last with the NFC West. The Atlanta Falcons, Matt Ryan. Listen, Matt Ryan's been a great quarterback. If Trevor Lawrence can be what Matt Ryan, turned out to be, I think that's a very successful career. I'm going Trevor. I'm assuming you're going with the same.
Yes, Trevor Lawrence all day.
Okay, the grand finale, the NFC West, the unanimous best division in the NFL. We'll start it off with Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. Keep in mind, Russell Wilson is on the wrong side of 30.
You know what? I'm going to take Trevor Lawrence, and here's why. It's like, I don't think Seattle, their rosters, like Russell Wilson's not good enough, I believe, to carry that roster to a Super Bowl right now. And I almost think it would be better for Seattle to get ahead of it and almost rebuild, because they've shown no ability to supply Russell Wilson with the means to win on the defense side of the ball and the offensive line. So then I guess just give me Trevor Lawrence and rip it all down.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking really at sort of where the Seahawks are as a whole team right now, but what we've been doing so far. If it was a different scenario, I'd say never, and I'd keep Russell Wilson because I still think he has 5 years left of being an elite quarterback. But you're right. I think the Seahawks, blow it all up, because Russell Wilson, you're going to win with him, but you're not going to be that top team that is collecting Super Bowl rings. So I like the shout of Trevor there. Los Angeles Rams.
I'll stick with Stafford because of the roster that they have right now. Yeah. It's ready to win, and I don't need any growing pains at all with my quarterback. You don't have that with Stafford, so I'll keep Stafford.
I'm going to say never as well. I read a report that the Rams view Stafford as they have 6 to 9 years of him, which I think is too much. I don't think they're going to get that out of him, but for the next 3-4 years, I think he's going to be really good. That Rams roster is built to win today. So I'm going to say never. Arizona Cardinals. They have Kyler Murray. He was first overall a couple years ago. Trevor or never?
Yeah, I'm going to go never. I think I'll keep Kyler. I think he's shown some flashes. I think he's a potential sneaky MVP candidate this year, even though they play in a really tough division. But yeah, Kyler showed me that he will be a top 10 quarterback. I guess you can make the argument that he is now if you're a big Kyler fan. I don't think he's there yet, maybe, but yeah, I'll play it safe and say, give me Kyler.
I think this might be the hardest one.
You took Baker.
You can only use that against me for so long. Soon I'm gonna change my answer on Baker Mayfield. The Baker was more about how the Browns are set up and about being conservative.
Fair enough.
I love Kyler Murray. I was sort of on that MVP hype train for him last season, really early on. Of course, there was some consistency issues, but when he's at his best, he is a talent. He's really, really good. But it's different play styles. I'm going to say never. I think Arizona can build around him. I like the connection of him and Hopkins worked really, really well this year. I think if you put a better defense with him, they can get more wins next season. So I'm going to say never, and keep what you have. If it's not broken, don't fix it with Kyler Murray. So they'll hang on to him. San Francisco 49ers. I guess it's Jimmy Garoppolo, the comparison. He's their starter right now.
Technically, yeah. Yeah, so I'll take Trevor.
Garoppolo. It's the same scenario as we said with the Jets. If Trevor Lawrence is there, so we'll take Trevor Lawrence, to take him. Wow, a bit of an anticlimactic ending there.
It is what it is.
49ers, but that's it. That's Trevor or never. Maybe we'll get producer Paolo to tally it up, do a little math, and how many teams would we take Trevor, and how many teams is it a never?
Yeah, I think it's. I don't know. It feels like it was close to.
It felt 50-50. To me, it felt like a little more of Trevor's, which would make sense. He's the first overall pick. I mean, how many teams could use a guy like that in their building? But But yeah, there it is. Next week is going to be Trey or Nay.
There you go. Lance. That's good. Hey,
that was on the spot too.
Yeah, we might have to do that. I came up with the Trevor Or Never. You came up with
Did you come up with? Are you taking credit for the Trevor Or Never?
I'm pretty sure I did.
For the name?
Yeah.
We might have to rewind the tape.
That might have been you. I don't know.
The idea was all yours.
Thank you.
Go. Tip of the cap to you.
Credit where credit is due.
The idea was all yours.
Yeah. I think
Trevor Or Never might have been from my imagination. Who knows? I'm stuck. While we've been having this conversation, I've secretly been trying to think of something that rhymes with Justin. And it's just, I've hit a big roadblock. So, you know what? We're concluding the episode. That's what we're asking for in the comments today. Justin or what for next week for Justin Fields.
Or it could be Fields. It could rhyme with Fields.
Fields or Yield, maybe. I don't know if that works. All right. We'll think about it. We'll regroup. No audible this week. But that's going to do it for today's episode. Thanks for sticking with us to the end if you made it. Of course, as always, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you get them, make sure to, leave a rating, subscribe, all that, and YouTube and Instagram as well. And as always, we'll give you the last word here.
Yeah, leave a like on the YouTube, subscribe, of course. And I'm going to say this now. I haven't even told you for next episode. I think it's time for another Q&A. There's not too many things going on. So either leave a question in the comments or go to the Instagram later in the week. Though I'm sure there'll be a post up about leaving a question because I think it's time for Q&A. I don't think we've done one yet. It is time we haven't done one in a while. So it's Q&A next
Q&A
week.
Draft season.
Yeah, April 20th.
Great math, adding 7.
Some might say that's 420.
Yes.
Some would say.
Some, not us though, but some.
Hey, if you indulge, enjoy. That's it. That's the end of the episode right there.
Take it easy, guys. Have a good one.